A Mercedes-Benz interview of the day brought to you by Mercedes-Benz EV, the brilliant EQE SUV from Mercedes-Benz. The vehicle all electric. The feeling is all Mercedes. Learn more at mbusa.com/EQE-SUV. Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk Live co-host. You can see it prior to this show on Peacock, NBC Football Night in America, Insider. Why can't the Bears say we're taking Caleb Williams?
Oh, they can do it. They could sign into a contract if they wanted to. I just think that the way this process has evolved, the NFL likes the teams to keep their mouths shut as long as possible so that maximum viewers will tune in 8 p.m. Eastern Thursday night to find out who the Bears are going to pick. And look, you never know what's going to happen in 3 days. I guess something could happen, but what would happen that would keep it from happening? It's inevitable.
Why hasn't anybody at least, kicked the tires on going up to get? If Caleb Williams is one of these generational talents, he's supposed to be the next Patrick Mahomes. Why hasn't somebody? Is he worth going up to get?
It's a great point, and I don't know whether it's a situation like 4 years ago when the Dolphins, who had the 5th pick and desperately wanted to go up and get Joe Burrow at number 1, and the Bengals would not even entertain the conversation, at least find out what they're willing to put on the table. The Bengals got lucky that Burrow ended up being great. You don't know what a guy's going to be until he plays in the NFL. You're turning down a potentially huge haul of picks for the one guy. You better be sure the one guy is going to work. I haven't heard anything about anyone trying to come up to get Caleb Williams, and that may be the Bears making it clear we're not moving, or no one willing to really do whatever it would take to go get him, or some combination of the two. But it has not even been a talking point. It hasn't been an issue. No one's even breathed a word of it in the past several months.
Is there real drama or manufactured drama with what the Commanders are going to do?
I think there's real drama. Look, Dan, there's a new ownership group, and that's good news for Commanders fans because it's anyone other than Daniel Snyder. But this is Josh Harris's first draft. I was told last week that he's more involved in the football operation than people thought he was going to be. Most owners are more involved than we know they are. They don't want us to know they're involved because they don't want to take the blame for the bad decisions. They want to be able to pin it on the GM or the head coach. That's why I respect Jerry Jones. I mean, he's out there. There's no hiding behind anyone. It's his decisions. And I think for a lot of these teams, it's the owner's decisions. And what they did last week with this top golf 4-quarterback square dance for whatever purpose they were trying to prove. And I think at the end of the day, they brought them all in at the same time because the owner was available one day, and that was the day he was going to be there, and he wanted to meet all 4 of them that day. I think that's the easiest explanation. But that may have angered Jaden Daniels, and they may have some things to work through. And there's talk about the Raiders wanting Daniels and Daniels wanting the Raiders, and who knows how that plays out. So we'll see. We'll see. They have to want Daniels, and at some level, you have to think that your potential franchise quarterback wants to be with you. Franchise quarterback is a higher level than the other players. It's a guy who shows up early, stays late, is basically an extension of management. If he doesn't want to be there, that's a problem.
What happens first? Tom Brady broadcasts a game or he plays in a game?
I think there are no accidents when it comes to Tom Brady, Dan. And for him to come out and say, after declaring last year, he's done and he's never coming back, he just kind of casually drops the turd in the punch bowl of, hey, what if somebody gets injured during the season? Oh, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Wait, what? I wouldn't be opposed to coming back and playing. Are you kidding me? That was huge. And again, I don't think it was something that just flew out of his mouth. I think he's ready to come back. And I think that was his trial balloon to see if anyone will call him. Just a couple of weeks before the draft, plenty of teams looking for quarterbacks. What if Sean Payton doesn't get the guy he wants? It was Payton and Brady 2 years ago that were tied together to go to Miami. The Dolphins lost a first-round pick over it because they were tampering with both guys. So I think Brady wants to come back, but he wants to be pursued. And he's put it out there that he wants to be pursued. So I think there's a chance that he never gets in the booth at all, at least not this year. And wouldn't it be awkward? He's sitting there with Kevin Burkhardt, Dan, and quarterback gets injured during a game. How can Burkhardt not say, hey, Tom, would you play for this team? They may be calling you tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, if they do a Dolphins game and Tua goes down, you could say, Tom, you got your chance to play for the Dolphins. Get out of the booth and walk down. Maybe you should wear pads during the broadcast.
Just have the pads on,
Yeah.
slip the jersey over.
Just in case.
He could be like the Zamboni driver that also subs as the emergency goalie at the hockey games. Just have him ready to go.
If you could know what one team is going to do Thursday night, what team would it be?
Well, the Vikings to me are the biggest curiosity in all of this because they're clearly going to try their damnedest to emerge with a quarterback. They're sitting at number 11. They've already picked up pick number 23 from the Texans. They didn't acquire that pick to use it. They acquired that pick to package it and move. So how high do they want to go? Who do they really want? Kevin O'Connell spoke about it recently. And is it Jaden Daniels? Is it Drake May? Is it J.J. McCarthy? I think it's one of those three. But one thing he made clear, they've had opportunities to get other quarterbacks during his time in Minnesota, and he's been the guy to say, no, I'm not going to do it. When we get the next guy, he's going to be the guy. So will they not be happy with whatever trade packages are demanded? Will they stay put? Will they pass on a quarterback and try to make it work with Sam Darnold? What they do is really going to be fun to watch because it can go in a lot of different directions.
Talking to Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk Live co-host, more likely to draft their quarterback successor, the Rams or the Cowboys?
Wow. The Cowboys need players who can come in and make an immediate impact because they haven't been able to go out and go all in, as Jerry Jones said they would back in late January, and they haven't. But they need to have some leverage in the event that Dak Prescott becomes a free agent next year. They have Trey Lance, who's also due to be a free agent next year, and I don't know that that counts as sufficient leverage. You need to have somebody to get Dak Prescott to stick around and take whatever deal the Cowboys want to put on the table. You need to be protected. You need to have that bird in the hand. I think it makes the Cowboys a little more likely than the Rams, who were thinking about it last year with Stetson Bennett. And that ship still hasn't completely sailed. He's got off-field issues that need to get under control. So I think they still hold out a sliver of hope that they could get things under control with Stetson Bennett. I think the Cowboys are more likely because they need that guy on the roster to give them leverage with Dak.
Jerry Jones is credited for being a brilliant businessman. But when it comes to his players, you can question his business acumen. Why is that?
Well, Dan, look, when it comes to their best young players, I said a couple of weeks ago on PFT Live, and I believe this, the Cowboys, and specifically Jerry Jones, are cheap, short-sighted, and frankly, in all due respect, not as smart as he thinks he is. Because, they blew it with Dak Prescott, dragged their feet, waited too long, got themselves in a tough position, did a bad contract that puts him in an even worse position now. CeeDee Lamb, here he is entering his fifth-year option. Micah Parsons should not set foot on a field, practice, or playing field until he gets his next contract, and it's tied their hands. And the more I think about it, the more I talk about it. We've all been conditioned to believe that Jerry Jones would basically rip out a kidney to win another Super Bowl. And I'm starting to think that's not the truth. This year, I've started to believe that Jerry Jones ultimately is a carnival barker who needs ways to get Cowboys fans to show up and open their wallets and give him their money and watch on TV. Think about this, Dan. No NFC Championship game for the Cowboys since 1995, yet they are still the biggest draw in the NFL. That is amazing. And that's a product of Jones as a salesman. So it's all selling. And he sold us on the idea that every year could be the year. And no year do they even get to the game to get to the Super Bowl. But they're still America's team. I think at the end of the day, it's about keeping that label of America's team and not necessarily about winning any one of the last 30 Super Bowls.
Great to talk to you. Are you involved in the Tom Brady roast?
No, I'm not. Not that I know of. Not that I know. But, that could go in a lot of different directions. That's going to be worth watching.
Now, I was invited to show up at the roast. I don't know if that meant I was going to be on the dais, but I said I wasn't going to be in L.A. But I was wondering, what is off limits for Tom Brady during a roast?
I don't know. I don't know. because that's the thing. They act like it's no holds barred. I don't know.
So kids would be off. Kids are off limit. Is the jiu-jitsu instructor off limits? Deflategate.
Deflategate can't be off limits.
Yeah.
Can't be.
I mean, what else is there with Brady?
I don't know. I mean, you could make a joke along the lines of, his hairpiece is older than some of the guys currently playing in the league.
What?
You could try that.
Wow.
His hair actually seems to be expanding as he gets older. Like the hairline's going down. Like he's going to be Teen Wolf by the time it's all said and done, like Jason Bateman.
Do you have sources that Brady has a hairpiece?